All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Mark, and I'm representing York Music Group. I'm here with the one, the only.
Alex Brubaker.
That's right. Wow, you played some awesome stuff today. Thank you for coming to this. Thank you for accepting the interview.
Yeah, and thanks for having me. This has been a lot of fun and a really neat experience with the added video aspect of the recording. So it's just like a whole production you guys have going here. It's really neat.
Awesome. Yeah. So I've been doing some research, and it shows that you have an upcoming album coming out, right?
Yes, yeah. So over the last couple years, I've been in and out of the studio working with Alex Anderson at Tree of Life Studio up in Connecticut, and he does a lot very specifically with percussive and modern fingerstyle guitarists, which is kind of a bulk of how you typify my music. And so I've been working with him, and we've been sitting on that. That's been wrapped up for maybe 3 months or so, but kind of at this point in the year, it's you either have a Christmas album that you're going to release over the holidays, or you wait until next year. So I'm gonna wait and not have to compete with like all of the different versions of Santa Baby or whatever song. That was like the first Christmas song that, and it's the creepy one too. Sorry.
So the stuff that you recorded today, is that eventually going to go onto a later album, or is that going to be its own separate thing, EP?
Yeah, so we did 2 songs today. The first was Perpetual Motion Machine, and then the second was Baby in the Floorboards. Baby in the Floorboards is actually off of my last studio release. That was The Architect, the Engineer, which I released in 2015. And yeah, it's neat to hear kind of how a song evolves over time. You can certainly like hit record and be done recording, and then years later things kind of change with live performances and with just how one evolves as a musician. So that was one song that's already been recorded. I thought it'd be neat to get another snapshot of that. And then the other one, Perpetual Motion Machine, that's actually I wrote that after recording this last album, and just thought this is a really fun piece. It'd be cool to do that as part of today. So at some point that'll probably end up on another album, but for the time being, it's just like, it's really neat to have something so close to its initial conception actually be recorded.
Oh, awesome. So how do you write songs like this? Like, I know, do you have a specific formula? Is it formulaic? Do you just have an idea?
Oh my. Now the questions are getting hard. So it kind of varies. Sometimes there's something I'm hearing from another artist that I'm listening to, or a band that I'm listening to, that kind of sparks an idea, and I try to maybe replicate a technique. Other times I just am kind of playing around, just noodling around on a guitar and come up with a riff, and then kind of my mind kind of takes that to wherever, and I try to keep up with playing and kind of flesh that out. Typically, it's not like I sit down and write a song or like compose something in like some music program and try to figure it out. It's more kind of from actual hands on the guitar, and just a lot of time and repetition. I find is the best.
Awesome. So how do you practice?
I try to make some time to practice, and then once I have time,
it's a question that's so simple yet so complicated, because people practice in different ways. We're all different as musicians.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of tricky to find time to put in good quality practice where you're not distracted, where you're not tired. That's something that I've tried to be more intentional about, but I'm just not where I want to be at this point. But it's just a lot of going over, a lot of working on whatever the new thing is, or if I have a show coming up, kind of going through the songs that I know need a little bit of polishing up. But yeah, it's a lot of just kind of having fun and trying to instill some level of discipline in that so that I'm not just like noodling around for hours, and there's some structure and some more intentional thought put behind what I'm playing in those times.
That's great. That's awesome, dude. What was the thing I wanted to ask? I've never actually I don't listen to too many acoustic guitar players, the instrumental stuff. I'm still kind of new to that scene, so I found it interesting. Were you? Is your guitar in drop B? Is that B standard, or is it?
Ooh. That's another seems like a straightforward question. So these two pieces are in two different tunings, and throughout other sets and other songs, I'll use all sorts of different tunings. So it really kind of depends on what sound I want to get. A lot of fingerstyle and percussive fingerstyle is kind of based around these really beautiful sounding open chords and stuff, and so some of it is that. Other things are maybe I want to get a harmonic somewhere, and there's no easy way to do that, so you kind of tune a string a little bit differently and then rework how you play the rest of a piece. So you're kind of fine-tuning things and adapting to where the song requires you to be.
So is it a tedious process and everything with retuning guitars and stuff for different pieces and stuff?
At least when I'm practicing, I find that I'll stick in the same tuning for a while, and maybe I'll have a couple guitars, like two guitars out in different tunings if I really want to bounce back and forth. Performing, it's not a huge deal to retune every couple songs. I really try to avoid having to retune in between every song. In the past, I've done that, and there's only so many things you can say over that time. So I like to kind of tell stories sometimes when I'm playing, and it's can be difficult to tell your story and focus on tuning and trying not to break another string and all that stuff. So yeah, it's not, you kind of get used to it. I certainly would not want to retune more than I am, but yeah, it's a necessary part of the music that I'm making.
Nice. So when did you really get interested in acoustic instrumental music? When was that really a calling for you?
So I think that was probably about 12 years ago. Some friends of mine had seen this fingerstyle guitarist, Trace Bundy, perform at a youth conference, and they all came back and told me, "You've got to check out Trace Bundy. You've got to check out Trace Bundy." And I admit to being young and arrogant, and was just kind of in my mind was yeah, they don't know what they're talking about. I'm not gonna listen to their recommendation. And finally, a friend of mine sat me down, and he forced me to watch a video of this guy, and it was just some of the most intricate and fascinating playing style that I'd ever seen before. And I'd always kind of been interested in technique and different technical aspects of playing, and just different ways, different experimental things. And so that really kind of sparked my interest. And yeah, like I said, that was back in 2007 roughly. And so just kind of dipping my feet in at that point and learning more about fingerstyle guitar and everything since then. And
that's wonderful. And is he the number one influencer to your playing?
He's definitely up there. I don't think that we share too much stylistically. He has a very distinct sound, and I don't think I necessarily draw a whole lot from that. I did take lessons from Trevor Gordon Hall for a summer, and that was really kind of transformative in my playing and writing. And then a lot of my influence comes from outside of the fingerstyle community, and so I think it's kind of hard to pinpoint it on just one individual or a couple individuals. A lot of my influence also comes from like post rock or ambient music. I get a lot of comparisons to like Explosions in the Sky, which is nothing like most like single solo artists with a guitar. So I like to try to build big ethereal sounding like soundscapes and kind of experiment within that and have a lot of I just like to have fun and kind of create these big sounds.
Nice. No, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for coming to this interview, and thank you for recording your music today. It's some great stuff, man. It's really good.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. All right. My name is Mark. Once again, I'm with York Music Group and Alex Brubaker, everybody.